My name is Jocelyn Patterson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about gender differences in leaderships and how that affects athletic departments. As an athletic director, we have several jobs and duties that we have to do throughout the day, and one of those is just overseeing all athletic programs. Our job is to work with MSHSAA to make sure that all the paperwork's filled out and our coaches and sponsors are doing what they're supposed to for their regulations, checking on our students and our students' eligibility and compliancy with our students. We have to hire coaches, head coaches, assistant coaches, sponsors, and make sure that they fit our program that we have designed. We have to schedule and promote games and events. This is a big part of our job, is scheduling the games or events, but also promoting them to the community to make sure that the community knows what's happening within our school districts and our athletic programs. With that being said, as an athletic director, you're going to have to travel with the teams. If they go to an away game, you're going to have to go to the away games to make sure that your coaches, your assistant coaches, your sponsors, and your students are doing what they're supposed to. We also have to fix and repair equipment that is broken, or if we need new equipment, we need to replace it. We also need to have an accounting background. We have to budget our funds. This includes setting up fundraisers and maintaining those fundraisers, and maybe assisting our coaches with fundraisers that they need to do. Plus, we also have to be really well at public speaking. One of our biggest job duties and performances is we have to go to school board meetings and report our budgets monthly, what's happening, what's going on in our games, and so on and so forth. With these job duties, we have noticed a few things in the leadership style. So now that we know the jobs that is entailed for being an athletic director, we need to know a few things. As an athletic director, we tend to receive our jobs if we have the schooling and the training, but especially if we're a coach or an assistant coach, or we've been an assistant to an athletic director. But how does this work with females? As an athletic director and a female, this is something that I always look at and try to figure out. There is not a lot of female athletic directors in the United States, and Missouri itself is low, with roughly 5% of women being athletic directors. But who become the athletic directors? Well, it's typically your football coaches and your boys basketball coaches, or male basketball coaches. They are the ones that tend to have the upper hand to become athletic directors. And we both know, or all of us know, that head coaches for football and head coaches for boys basketball typically are male. Men, however, are more likely to be an athletic director over the whole program, not just bits and pieces, where females, on the other hand, tend to only be athletic directors over female sports. So female superior sports typically have female leaders. With this being said, the reason why women tend to be athletic directors for women's sports is homologous reproduction. Well, what is homologous reproduction? It is when an operation within an organization has powers that maintain their influence by allowing those only who have similar characteristics to gain power of position and influence an organization. Meaning, if there's a male currently seating as an athletic director, then he is typically going to want another male to resign as the athletic director. In 1992, there was only 31.6% of women in the United States who were female athletic directors, and that dramatically decreased when the Title IX Educational Amendment of 1972 passed. During that time, a large amount of women were replaced as athletic directors, and men became the sole superior, squeezing out the women from those positions. And typically, we like to think of the whys. Why are there no women athletic directors? Is it marriage, the lack of experience, or family? Well, in a study done by Fitzgerald, Saga, and Nielsen in 1994, they found that 31.6% of women were married. Out of 200 athletic directors, 31.6% of the women were married. and 95.8% of the males were married. Once again, that's out of 200. So it can't be marriage because more men were married than females. So marriage was not the reasoning for the decline in women becoming athletic directors. Is it experience? According to the same study, no. 96% of people who become athletic directors have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and tend to be the assistant principal or the physical education teacher in a school district. What about families? Well, unfortunately, I was looking at all the research and none of them said anything about families. But I, being a mom of 2 little girls, can tell you it's hard to have a family and have to travel with your teams to make sure your coaches and your students are doing what they're supposed to when there's bedtimes and meals that need to be prepped. But there was no data to back that up. Women are more likely to coach women-based sports. So with knowing that this isn't the thing, we know that women are more likely to coach women-based sports. But when given the opportunity to move up, would they be willing to? Well, in Oregon, their athletic director program, they found that in the state of Oregon that women, no matter what, would not move up. They found that women just liked being in their happy nest egg because whenever they would put their name into the hat or they would apply for that position, they would not receive that position. They would be nicely told that they were going to go a different direction. So Oregon came up with an athletic director program. It's a leadership-based program, development program, the LPD. Only 12 women are allowed to get into the program. There's anywhere from 35 to 40 women that apply. How do you get into this program? Well, there's a few requirements. The first one is you have to have been a coach, have to have a teaching certificate, and you have to have some form of leadership experience. This can look as a leadership as a coach, as a sponsor of an event or a club, coaching, whether you're an assistant or a head coach, it doesn't matter. And you have to have a teaching certificate. So you can't just be a paraprofessional or someone off the street that decides they want to be an athletic director. With that, you have to write a personal statement. You have to explain and almost plead to the program to let you in because of who you are and what you want to become in the future. And lastly, you have to have at least 2 references from the school that you're currently at. Whether that's the current athletic director, principals, fellow teachers, so someone that is going to be able to allow you, these 2 people you choose should know how much you want to become an athletic director. As a woman, it is not easy to be in the sports field and to maintain a job as an athletic director. There was a study done in 2011 that showed that there was no in 2011, Peachy and Burton did a study and found that there was nothing to support the fact that women aren't being athletic directors because of something in the system. There's no leadership style that a school prefers to be an athletic director. There's no leadership style to make you become the athletic director. It's just a wing and a prayer. Yeah, they also showed that some women just don't put themselves out there to become an athletic director because, you know, you see the studies, you see the reports where it's a male-driven job. So why leave the comfort of your own classroom, of what you know, your coaching, your classroom, to put your neck out there and not get the job? So if more states were to develop programs like the LDP, maybe we would see more female athletic directors in the future.